Hey, what's up my people, IceRestrict12 here, and today I'm bringing you 3 amazing strategies that are completely different than what you're used to with normal Yu-Gi-Oh! Now what I mean by that is, even though strategies do different things and they approach that winning condition in different ways, they usually tend to follow a very similar structure, meaning you're usually summoning monsters to negate things, or trying to control the board, or you're trying to OTK your opponent in one turn. Now these 3 strategies that I want to show to you are very different than what most strategies are like. Now these decks will make you think differently on how you approach the game and also how you play Yu-Gi-Oh! So if you're bored of the usual decks and you want to play something that is still Yu-Gi-Oh! But doesn't really feel like Yu-Gi-Oh!, stick around because I got 3 decks that are just that. Very well guys, now the very first strategy I want to talk about is Dynamorphia. Now the cool thing about Dynamorphia is that this is a trap-based strategy. Now most trap-based strategies tend to be control and they tend to be a little bit on the slower side, we're thinking Altergeist or Eldritch. But this deck is a trap-based strategy that is so fast and so aggressive, it's crazy. Now the way this works is you are going to have a plethora of trap cards that come with the archetype that you have to pay half your life points to activate, and they have some pretty cracked effects. Anything from destruction to protection to fusion summoning some of their best boss monsters right off the bat. It's amazing. Now you are going to be paying half your life points. Now why? Is because this deck loves being under 2,000 life points. It thrives. Some effects get unlocked the moment you are under 2,000 life points. So for instance, you have cards like one of their boss monsters, which is Dynamorphia Stealth Virga. While your life points are 2,000 or less, you do not pay life points to activate trap cards or Dynamorphia monster effects. Now that is amazing. The reason why is because basically all the solemn cards become completely free. Now you're wondering, all right, so I'm going to be paying half my life points to activate all these cracked trap cards. Eventually I'm going to be at like 100 life points and anything can kill me. But these cards have protection against both damage and effect. So the way this works is half of their traps will protect you from battle damage. If they're in the graveyard, you just banish the card, protects you from battle damage, and the other half will protect you from effect damage. So you can literally be, and I've seen this, you can be at like 50 life points, not 100 or 200, no, literally 50 life points, and your opponent attacks over anything you have trap cards that you just banish them, and you take no damage. And it's amazing because a lot of the cards in this strategy allow you to send those trap cards, either activate them and send them to the graveyard, or just straight up send them to the graveyard to become that trap's effect. But now you have that trap in the graveyard that you can activate, banish, and protect your life points. This strategy is amazing, and the best card is probably the boss monster, which is a behemoth. That will be Dynamorphia Cantrigena. Now Dynamorphia Cantrigena says loses attack equal to your life points, and this thing has 4,000. So remember, the less life points you have, the less attack this card is going to lose. Now you can only use each of the following effects of Dynamorphia Cantrigena once per turn. During the main phase, quick effect, you can pay half your life points. So again, here goes the pay half life points theme of the deck, and banish 1 Dynamorphia normal trap from your graveyard. This effect becomes that trap's effect when that card is activated. So again, this deck thrives on being under 2,000 life points. It is fast, it hits hard, and it's a lot of fun. Alright guys, let's keep it moving. Now the very next strategy I want to talk about, it is a little bit old, but is a really cool approach to Yu-Gi-Oh! Now, do you want to use your opponent's OCD against them? Well, I have this strategy for you. Now, the Mech Knight strategy is based on using columns and card arrangements to special summon and activate some pretty cracked effects. Now, the way this works is all the monsters share the same effect. If there are 2 or more cards in the same column, you are able to special summon these cards directly from your hand. Now, so for instance, a lot of players would like to set a monster with a spell or trap card right behind it. It is probably because it is more aesthetically pleasing that way, or just because people are OCD. They don't want to have one monster here, then one card here, and then another one here. Now you like to keep a tight package, or you just like the way it looks, or you're not even thinking about that. Your mind is so busy thinking of all the other 100 things that can go south in Yu-Gi-Oh! To worry where you're placing your cards. But this deck takes full advantage of that. Now you have cards like Mech Knight, Blue Sky that have effects such as this. If 2 or more cards are in the same column, now it says card, doesn't mean it has to be your opponent's cards. If your opponent has a card face down, you can set one of your own directly across from it, and now there are 2 cards on the same column. Now that activates, that basically makes the effect live of you can special summon this card from your hand in that column. You can only special summon Mech Knight Blue Sky once per turn this way. Now this effect is shared by all the Mech Knight monsters in this strategy, but they all have some really cool effects that activate when there are cards in the same column. Now, Blue Sky has the effect that if this card is normal or special summoned from the hand, you can add one Mech Knight monster with Mech Knight monsters with different names, except Mech Knight Blue Sky from your deck to your hand, equal to the number of your opponent's cards in this card's column. Now, for instance, if your opponent has a card in front of you in the center area, and then they have a trap right behind it, you're able to bring this card in your area directly across from it, and since they have 2 in their own column, that's going to allow you to search 2 Mech Knight monsters. That is amazing card economy. Now you also have cards such as Red Moon, which you can banish one Mech Knight monster from your graveyard, then target one face-up monster in this card's column, destroy it. So again, here's the theme of having monsters in the same column. And don't worry, your opponent is gonna be like, oh, well, let me start putting things not in that column. Lucky for you, there are cards that will allow you to move your own cards around, so you're always right across from a card you want to destroy or interact with. Now, another really cool card, for instance, is Mech Knight Yellow Star. This card, again, it shares the effect that if there's 2 cards in the same column, you can special summon it, but you can banish one Mech Knight monster from your graveyard, then target one spell or trap in this card's column, destroy it. So again, it is just the moment that card, it's in the same column as something else, you're gonna be able to destroy it. And the boss monster of the strategy is a really cool card by the name of Mech Knight of the Morning Star. Now, if this card is link summoned, you can discard one Mech Knight monster or one World Legacy card, add one World Legacy card from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect of Mech Knight of the Morning Star once per turn. If your Mech Knight monsters battles a monster in a different column than your monster cannot be destroyed by battle. Also, you take no battle damage from that battle. So again, you have cards that will help you move your own monsters to areas where they are completely directly across from other cards. But in the case that is not what's happening, you have cards that will protect you from battle and taking damage. Again, this deck really feels like you're almost like you're playing chess, where the movement and where you place things and how you move around definitely matters. So if you want to put your opponent in a checkmate, this is an amazing strategy for you. Very well, guys, and we made it to the end of the video. Now, come on, you knew it was coming. If we are talking about Yu-Gi-Oh strategies that are completely out of left field, that don't play like usual Yu-Gi-Oh, we have to talk about Exodia. Now, the way Exodia works is you're going to be able to win the duel just by having 5 cards in your hand. That is Exodia, the Forbidden One, the right arm, the left arm, the right leg, and the left leg. As long as those cards are in your hand, you automatically win the duel. Now, you don't have to summon them, you don't have to reveal them, none of that. The moment that 5th card hits your hand, you win. Now, how do you get to that? Now, before it was a little hard, but nowadays we have cards like Pot of Duality, we have Pot of Prosperity, Pot of Extravagance that are gonna help you to dig deeper into that deck so that you can get the pieces that you need. Now, let's say things go south. Your opponent somehow was able to get rid of some of those cards in your hand, and now you have to go with plan B. Well, luckily this deck has some support in the form of the legendary Exodia Incarnate. Now, what this card does is it says this card cannot be normal summon or set, must be special summoned from your hand by tributing one Forbidden One monster, and cannot be special summoned by any other ways. And that is totally cool because as long as the card says Forbidden One, so you're talking about the head, the arms, or the legs, you can just tribute one of them and you can special summon this card. Now, this card gains 1000 attack for each Forbidden One monster in your graveyard. So let's say something went south and your opponent was able to get rid of maybe 3 cards from your hand. You're like, man, I almost had that, that 4th and then the 5th card. Well, with this card, you're going to be able to get them back. And the reason why is because the other half of the effect says it is unaffected by other cards effects, which is huge. This card is going to be able to stall until you're able to get those cards from the graveyard back into your hand. Now, once per turn during your end phase, add one Forbidden One monster from your graveyard to your hand. When this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can reveal any number of Forbidden 1 monsters in your hand, and if you do, draw 1 card for each. So not only is this card going to help you get Forbidden 1 cards, so you know, the head, the arms, the legs, from the graveyard back into your hand, but when this card gets destroyed by battle, meaning you can, either your opponent does it, but if your opponent, if he or she does not want to destroy this card, you can just crash it into your opponent's monster. You're going to be able to reveal those cards from your hand and draw. So if you have 3, you reveal 3 and you get to draw 3 cards, getting you ever closer to those pieces of Exodia that are going to give you the match. Now again, this is a really cool strategy. You know that nowadays it is more of a casual strategy, but if you're bored of, you know, the regular Yu-Gi-Oh! And the usual structure of decks, this is definitely a deck that plays by its own rules and likes to do its own thing. Now, this deck right here got a huge boost by a card called Crooked Cook. Now, what Crooked Cook does is that it allows you, while you control no cards on the field, this card is unaffected by other cards' effects. So as long as your field is clean and this is the only card on the field, this card is unaffected. So no destruction, no removal, no nothing, no spell, no traps, no monster effects, nothing affects this card at all. It says once per turn during either player's turn, you can detach 1 XYZ material from this card, destroy as many other cards you control as possible, then this card gains 300 attack until the end of this turn for each monster destroyed by this effect and sent to the graveyard. Now, you'll say, okay, so the card is it's not affected by anything, which is amazing, but it only has 2300 attack, so that's not a lot. Honestly, you can attack over it with anything really that has decent attack, and nowadays you can normal summon or special summon monsters with like 2500 attack out of nowhere, so you know that's not a big deal. But if you bring this card with a card called Right Hand Shark, which provides, I'm just going to read the part that matters, says an XYZ monster that was summoned using only water monsters as materials, including this card on the field, gains this effect. This card cannot be destroyed by battle. So if you make Crooked Cook using Right Hand Shark in another water level 4 monster, not only is your Crooked Cook not affected by card effects, but it is not destroyed by battle. So that thing can just sit there the entire duel while you get those 5 pieces of Exodia. Again, this deck got a huge boost from this card, so it is somewhat a viable strategy. Now, it can be disrupted very easily, but trust me, if you want to play something completely different and out of left field, this is an awesome nostalgic deck. Alright guys, so that is the end of the video, guys. Again, thank you for being so patient. You know, as you can see, new background, we moved and you know we had to unpack and all that stuff, so you know it took me a while to kind of get settled in, guys, but the videos will keep coming. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching my videos. It means the world to me. If you like my content, please go ahead and give me a like, subscribe. Also, if you want to see a specific type of content, let me know, guys. I'm flexible and I always read my comments. You know, I do care about what you guys have to say, and I can't wait to keep providing you guys with some entertainment. Now let me know in the comment section what other strategies I missed, what strategies you consider are very out of left field that not a lot of players are aware of and that are very, very fun. All right, guys, so with that out of the way, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.